Hello and welcome to the Armor's Fix. My name is Kyle. Today we're going to be reviewing the M&P 380 Shield EZ. Stay tuned. We have range footage and all the good stuff coming up right after this. Welcome back, guys. Again, here we are with the 380 Shield EZ. This firearm I paid zero attention to when it came out. I didn't care. It's another shield. I feel like the shields are being almost left behind with some of the cool new firearms on the market, such as the 43X48 from Glock, and then the SIG 365 and 365 XL. With the name being EZ printed on the slide, I still didn't think anything of it until my friend on Instagram, Mogas0311, hit me up and said, "Hey dude, you gotta check this thing out." So overall, I've been pretty impressed with it once I went hands-on. So EZ, I highly recommend this for first-time shooters, specifically female or older shooters that have issues racking the slides and everything. So everything about the manipulation of this firearm was intended to be easy. Where the Walther PK380 is cool, I think the biggest fail the Walther had was making that a hammer-fired gun, where you tell someone who's new to load up a weapon, chamber around, and then what? Hang on to the hammer, pull the trigger and ease it forward and pray you don't get a negligent discharge. It was a really bad idea from Walther. I love the concept of the gun, but that was silly. So this guy, don't have to do that. Striker fired, so we don't have any concerns with that. Again, Walther, you just should have added a decocker, just like you had on the P99s. Starting off with the magazine. The button, very, very easy to hit. This thing comes out effortlessly. It's super slick on the interior there, where everything just slides beautifully. As you're loading the mags, the spring tension isn't too tight. It's pretty loose, so it's easy to manipulate. But they also added a lever here, so we can pull down on this lever to add rounds. One thing I don't like about that lever is it comes to a hard 90-degree angle cut, and that's going to wear your thumb out pressing on that. It doesn't feel the best if you're sitting there running several rounds through it in a day. What I wish they would have done instead was just simply round that. And guys, you can do that with sandpaper. You can pass it over to a gunsmith, have them round that, and that'll make that a lot easier to manipulate. Another thing to mention is they've transitioned the safety into a grip safety. So this firearm will not go bang until that grip is squeezed. So you squeeze that grip and then the gun will fire. The slide manipulation is super, super easy. Again, here we go, just 2 fingers. Look at that. Beautiful. This thing moves so easy. Also, the serrations in the rear, they cut it to where it's nice and thin, but then they left one heck of a ledge right on the back end, similar to what HK added with the VP9s, with those little plastic inserts that allow you to grab and keep you from slipping. So that's a cool feature. And one thing I just want to throw out as a little training technique for those of you who do have issues running slides on firearms. Instead of pulling the slide to the rear, consider holding on to the slide and pushing the frame forward. That movement is generally a lot easier than pulling on the slide. This firearm, not necessary though. It's really, really easy. Again, I can pull it with just a couple fingers. Awesome, awesome setup. That's a great design. The one thing I will say that is not necessarily easy, but there's a simple way around it, is when this mag is fully loaded and you go to insert it with the slide forward and in battery, the magazine wants to kind of stop right there with the slide hang up. Again, simple fix, right there. Just pop it on the bottom and that'll seat it. So if that's an issue for you, slap it on the bottom and then go ahead and rack that next round in. If you're wanting to lock the slide to the rear, if you're newer with firearms, take an empty mag, place it in the firearm, pull the slide back, and it's going to lock it to the rear. If you don't have an empty mag and you're wanting to lock it to the rear because what I just said was difficult for you, you're just going to press up on the mag release. Let me do it right-handed, sorry. Press up on that mag release, and again, pull the slide back till it catches. That's it. That's all you got to do, and again, that's effortless because of how simple this slide is to manipulate. Another thing you'll notice, we have a loaded chamber indicator where this bar is going to cant up, letting you know that you do have a round in the chamber. The trigger pull is surprisingly easy and simple. and super, super clean. I was really surprised with the trigger. I kind of expected the cliche of M&P triggers, which I'm personally not a fan of. And if you're an M&P fan, you're probably not a fan of it either, which is why everyone drops an Apex into it immediately. While the 2.0 triggers are better, still not a fan. Still love adding an Apex to it. But I'm not a huge fan of adding aftermarket parts in my carry guns, so that's another thought to have. The sights that come with it are your standard 3-dot white dot sights. Again, we can take these off, we can drift these out and go ahead and add in aftermarket sights if you're interested in doing that to upgrade to night sights. One thing that I found a little challenging with this guy that really surprised me was with such a great trigger and everything, I thought this thing was going to be an absolute tack driver, and it's not. I was having a lot of trouble trying to hold a good, consistent group. And again, I called it Mogas 0311, and I was like, dude, I don't know what's going on. I can't shoot this thing accurately. And with that amazing trigger, that beautiful pull, I expected, really tight groups. And he was like, you know what? I'm so glad you said that. I thought I was going crazy. Again, Mogas is one of those guys. He can sit there and hold consistent 4-inch groups at 25 yards with a Glock 19 that he carries every day. Someone who can shoot very, very accurately. And he said he had the same issues with it. Again, who this gun is built for, it's built for concealed carry scenarios where most of your engagements are going to be 4 yards and in, and a lot of times you're talking 2 yards. So I don't really see that accuracy as being a big issue. However, I would find it discouraging to a new shooter who doesn't feel like they're doing that well. But again, that's one of the limitations of this firearm. Now, one thing I'm not a huge fan of 380s is the recoil. They're typically pretty snappy and pretty aggressive. That's usually due to the tiny size of 380 firearms that we see. This guy is built up quite a bit larger than the average 380, which may be a turnoff to some of you, but the recoil management of this thing is insane. Again, holding true to its name of EZ, this thing is really easy to fire. Really easy to control the recoil, so I was really excited about that. The two things I don't find that it holds true to the name on is seating a mag that's full of ammo, but again, that's it. That's all we got to remember, just give it that little extra love tap. And accuracy. I was a little disappointed in the accuracy, but again, at the distances it's made for, I don't think we're going to have an issue there. Overall, really impressed with this firearm. I think they knocked it out of the park compared to the Walther. I think it is the best handgun available for concealed carry or home protection for someone who's new to shooting and has trouble manipulating the majority of firearms out there. Definitely go check them out. I can't explain to you how excited I am of how good this thing is at doing all that. Again, when it came out, I completely ignored this thing. I didn't care. It was just another shield. I like shields, but again, it was just like, what's the point? After getting hands-on, taking it to the range, getting to shoot it, getting to manipulate everything, guys, I'm blown away. So if there's a new shooter in your life, a wife, daughter, someone along those lines, you have grandparents that have some issues with some of the tighter guns, like my grandpa did. I remember buying him an LCP back in the day because he wanted a pocket gun, and that's one that he enjoyed, but he couldn't operate the slide. And it's that gun, you'd have just a little bit of a hang up past here that's kind of hard to get past. He'd get past it and realize it's easy, but man, he was hanging up on that a lot. So I find this extremely valuable and an amazing place to get people started. And a lot of people, I think you'll find they'll graduate from this and they'll move on to other things. But if you're looking for that easy firearm for someone to use to get them into shooting, this is it, guys. This is where you should start. Thank you for watching. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Don't forget the bell icon so you can actually get notifications on all future videos we post. Look forward to seeing you guys again next time. And look at that, like magic, I got clean targets.